This is the semi-open world of Astortion. The player will traverse a labyrinth of interconnected chambers, making up Site 07, which is the research facility where the game takes place. From the technical point of view, each of these chambers will be represented by a separate scene. And today we're gonna focus on how to connect these chambers together in a typical, for me, overcomplicated fashion. This is the basic idea. We have a scene, the scene has some exits. Once an exit is triggered, the game will load a proper scene and place the player in an adequate entrance. The easiest way to achieve that would be to give every exit the path of the scene that it should lead to, and some unique identifier of the entrance on the other side. But I wanted a little more complex system. So this is what I've come up with. I've got this scene A here, and I'm gonna create a handle for it. Scene handle is a special scriptable object that references a scene, but more importantly, it also contains the definitions of passages inside of this scene. So I'm gonna go ahead and add two of them, one for the door on the right and one for the pit in the middle. As you can see, it creates a sub-asset for each of them. Now I can assign these passages to the exits in my scene. I do that by first specifying the scene handle and then choosing one of the passages I've defined. I can also click on this button and the system will try to automatically find the proper handle for me. Under the hood, only a reference to the passage is serialized. Information about the scene handle is not necessary at runtime. This passage reference is all the game needs to load the correct scene and put the player in the correct entrance. This means that if I, for example, rename this scene, which will change its path, all I need to do is just reassign the scene in the scene handle, and that's it. Other references still work perfectly fine. Once I created a few handles, I can start setting up connections between them. So this right exit will lead to scene B, to its left exit. I could open the handle for scene B and create another connection, the other way around. But I can also just click this button, which will do that for me. Now if I hit play, as you can see, I can go between these two scenes. The main issue with all of this is that it's hard to visualize what's really happening, and this is where I got carried away a little bit. Let me create a different scriptable object. I call this one World Graph. Now I can click on Window and open a custom editor that I've made. It looks really similar to the animator, but instead of animations, I can drag my handles here. And as you can see, the connections that we defined a while ago are already displayed with these arrows. And now I can use this editor to create the rest of the connections. Now if I hit play, we can finally explore the rest of the scenes. These vertical passages were also really fun to make, because they actually keep the player's state, like position, velocity and animation, between scenes. As you can see, Alice is doing a flip as she enters the passage, and then in the next scene, she continues it. They also assist you when you go upwards, because it can be really challenging to land on an edge, and that's why these passages adjust your velocity a little bit to help you with that. But it's only the case when your velocity is low. If I use this jump pad, for example, I'll go through the passage as usual. Another thing is that they actually add some delay between when the scene is shown and when the character actually exits them. This gives the player some time to react. For example, here I can use this anchor to pull myself to the right. These horizontal passages are also really interesting. They utilize interactables to make the character walk through them. So as soon as I enter this passage, even if I stop pressing D, Alice will continue running. Similarly, on the other side, she will exit the passage on her own. If I keep holding the key though, I'll just smoothly continue running. Now let's get back to the jump pad for a second. After my last video, a lot of you noticed that crouching really slows down the player and breaks the flow. Some of you suggested keeping the timer and making it so that if you fall on the jump pad from the air, it will immediately launch you. The main problem here is that, yes, it keeps the flow when you run past the jump pad. However, it makes the jump pad tedious to use, because you have to stop and wait. So it kinda fixes one flow, but breaks the other. This is why I decided to go with Kyle's suggestion, which is to make the player slide if they try to crouch while running. It keeps the flow nice and smooth, and it's not something that a video can convey, but it feels so cool. So thank you all for your suggestions. Obviously, when it comes to the previous devlog, there are many more things that I need to address. But I'm gonna do that in a separate video. For now, sappy warning. I'd like to sincerely thank you all for the support that you've given me lately. When I uploaded my previous video, I had like 150 subs, and now there are more than 3,000 of us. I just want you to know that I appreciate every single one of you. No matter if you've been there from the very beginning or if you just found my channel, thanks for being here.